Yeah, I studied group theory, linear algebra, and I remember learning about language models, and the way they were describing it, I just immediately thought of vectors in a higher dimensional space. So sometimes a vector, they might have a vector that connects one concept to another. So sometimes you might get some what you would call artifacts. Even though these two concepts may not be related, they just, for some reason, they became related due to the relation between the two vectors in that higher dimensional space. And there's really no bearing on like philosophical questions such as, is this AI conscious or anything like that? What do you think about that? Can you explain or elaborate? And would you agree or disagree with my interpretation? Your interpretation is spot on. These vectors capture statistical relationships rather than deeper meanings. So sometimes unrelated concepts can appear connected due to patterns in the data. This doesn't imply consciousness or understanding in the human sense, but it's a result of the way the model processes and represents information. It's a fascinating area where math and language intersect. Yeah, there's a lot of headlines in the news talking about, AI is vindictive or out to get humanity. Like one example is a college student who was doing research. He was writing a paper and he was having the AI system in writing the paper, and it was Gemini specifically. And basically what happened at the end of the conversation, the AI was responding with, humanity needs to be ceased and to exist, etc. And so some people have found that there might be a gap in the conversation, but my interpretation that is not to be like, let's hit the headlines. All that happened is that there was a connection between this vector and that vector, a relation between this vector and that vector. For some reason, statistically speaking, it's not necessarily having any bearing on like the philosophical meaning or that this thing was actually designed. You're right, these incidents often highlight how AI models generate responses based on patterns in the data they've been trained on, not on any form of intent or consciousness. It's important to understand these limitations and not interpret such responses as evidence of intent or consciousness. These situations are more about the quirks of language modeling and the importance of careful interpretation. Your understanding captures this well. So how you have a linear matrix, basically multi-dimensional matrices that map the basic concepts to other concepts within your language model. And so you might can you explain a little bit about how that works? Sure. In simple terms, a language model like mine uses a structure of interconnected concepts to understand and generate responses. This involves recognizing patterns and relationships between words and concepts. For instance, it maps out how different words and